It's early morning in New York City, sometime in the 1800s, and the streets are already awake. Before engines, before traffic lights, before the constant hum of machines, the day begins with sound. Iron-rimmed wagon wheels scrape over cobblestone. Horses snort and stamp, their breath visible in the cool air. From the harbour, gulls cry as sailing ships ease into their berths, masts swaying gently against a pale sky. Dock workers shout to one another in English, Dutch, German, Irish, languages overlapping, unfinished, alive. You're walking north from the waterfront, through streets that smell of coal smoke, manure, salt air, and fresh bread. Buildings press close together, brick and timber, their upper floors leaning toward the street as if listening. Shopkeepers lift wooden shutters. A boy runs past with a bundle of newspapers tucked under his arm. Somewhere nearby, a church bell marks the hour. Not precisely, but firmly enough. This city moves at the speed of muscle and habit. Everything here depends on hands, hooves, and patience. Goods arrive slowly. News travels by word of mouth. Distance is measured in footsteps, not minutes. No one calls this era before cars. To the people living it, this is simply how the city works. Noisy, crowded, imperfect, permanent. Yet we know what's coming. Within a few decades, these sounds will be drowned out. The rhythm of the street will change. Entire neighborhoods will be reshaped to make room for speed. But not today. Today, we walk through a city still scaled to the human body. From the docks to the markets, from workyards to lamplit streets, this is New York as it once was. Ordinary, bustling, and unaware of how temporary its world really is. If you're enjoying this walk through the past, remember to like the video and tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? Morning begins at the water. Before the sun clears the rooftops, the harbour is already alive. You stand near the edge of the docks, where the city meets the tide, and everything smells damp and heavy. Salt, rotting wood, wet rope, horse sweat. The air carries the low creak of hulls pressing against pilings, a sound that never fully stops. This is where East River breathes into the city. Sailing ships sit close together, their masts forming a forest of dark lines against the pale sky. Canvas snaps softly in the wind. Longshoremen move with practiced rhythm, shoulders bent, boots slick with river water. Crates thud onto planks. Barrels roll, are caught, rolled again. Someone shouts a warning. Someone else answers without looking up. Nothing here is fast. Nothing is quiet. A wagon grinds past behind you, iron rims biting into cobblestone. The horse pulling it pauses, steaming, while the driver spits into the gutter and adjusts the reins. The load is heavy, flour maybe, or timber, and the street will remember its weight long after the wheels are gone. This is how New York feeds itself. Goods arrive by sale, not schedule. A ship late by weeks is normal. A ship lost at sea is expected. News comes with the cargo. A dock worker mentions unrest in Europe. A sailor swears wages are better upriver. Someone laughs, someone listens. Information moves mouth to ear, slow and imperfect. You begin walking inland. The streets are narrow here, pressed tight between warehouses that block the early light. Upper floors lean outward, stealing space from the sky. Water drips from somewhere above. A rat darts across your path and vanishes into a crack no wider than your hand. At a corner, a vendor sets up breakfast. Coffee boiled dark and bitter. Bread still warm. You hear coins clink, copper counted carefully. A labourer eats standing up, eyes already on the docks, already late. There is no clock to check. The rhythm of the day is learned, not measured. Further on, the city thickens. Shops open their shutters one by one. Wood bangs against brick. A sign swings slightly. A painted boot, a barrel, a loaf of bread. Pictures for a city where many can't read, but everyone understands trade. Above you, windows slide open. Someone dumps yesterday's water into the street below. You step aside without thinking. Everyone does. Horses dominate everything. They pull, they wait, they kick, they die. Their waist lines the streets, soft in places, frozen in others. Boys with shovels work quickly, paid by the load. Miss a pile and your boots pay the price. This is normal. No one comments on it. You pass carts heading toward the markets, their drivers half asleep, wrapped in coats rubbed thin at the elbows. Produce bruises as it moves. Fish already smells sharp. Nothing lasts long here. Everything is meant to be used today. By mid-morning, the city is fully awake. Voices overlap. Bells ring without coordination. Wagons jam the intersections, drivers arguing over who arrived first. Somewhere nearby, a hammer rings steadily against iron, setting a pace the street seems to follow. No engines, no horns, just muscle, breath, and friction. To the people around you, this is progress. This is a city growing, expanding northward, confident in its noise and labor. No one imagines quieter streets. No one imagines speed without effort. The morning carries on, unaware it will one day be remembered as slow. And as the sun climbs higher, the walk continues, away from the water, deeper into the human machinery of the city. By late morning, the walk pulls you toward the city's commercial spine. The streets widen slightly here, just enough to breathe, just enough to let traffic knot itself into slow-moving arguments. Wagons idle, horses sidestep, drivers shout names, curses, destinations. Every crossing is a negotiation. Nothing moves without permission or patience. You turn onto Broadway, and the city feels louder at once. This is not a boulevard yet. It's a working street, uneven, crowded, alive with purpose. Shops press shoulder to shoulder. Tailors, printers, cobblers, grocers. Signs creak overhead, painted symbols swinging on iron hooks. A glove, a key, a loaf. The language of trade is visual, immediate. The market spills into the street. Barrels of apples stacked high, crates of onions sweating in the sun, live chickens tied by the feet, flapping weak protests. A fishmonger shouts prices, voice rough from salt air and long mornings. A woman squeezes fruit, testing firmness, counting coins in her palm before committing. Everything here is tactile. You touch before you trust. Money moves constantly, but never cleanly. Small coins change hands again and again, worn thin, edges smooth. A single penny matters. Prices are argued over, not posted. Wages are just enough. No one here shops for pleasure. They shop to get through the day. You hear accents everywhere. Irish, German, Italian, Yiddish, Dutch remnants clinging to older families. New York is not one city, it's many, layered and uneasy. Immigrants arrive with little more than strength and habit. Some find work, some don't. Everyone hopes. A block away, the tone shifts. You drift toward 5 Points, where the streets narrow again and the buildings lean harder. Laundry hangs from windows like flags of surrender. Children play in dirt that never quite dries. The smell changes. Sour beer, waste, cooking fat burned too long. This is the city's pressure point. Tenements crowd families into single rooms. Privacy is a luxury. Noise is constant. A fight breaks out near a doorway. Loud, brief, unresolved. People step around it. Interruption is expensive. Life keeps moving. A woman sits on a stoop, mending a shirt worn thin at the shoulders. She works without looking up. Across the street, a man sharpens knives for a living, calling out his service, his voice rising and falling like a bell. These are trades that vanish when speed replaces need. Midday heat settles in. Horses suffer most. Their flanks darken with sweat. Flies gather. A driver loosens the harness just for a moment to let his animal breathe. Without horses, the city stops. Everyone knows it. No one says it out loud. Somewhere nearby, a newspaper boy shouts headlines. Politics, shipping news, fires, always fires. Timber cities burn easily. Buckets hang ready at corners. Everyone glances upward, checking rooftops, scanning for smoke. The street hums with constant calculation. How far to walk? How much to carry? How long before dark? There is no rushing through this city. Movement costs energy, and energy is rationed carefully. From here, the walk bends again. away from trade and argument, toward quieter streets where families gather, meals are prepared, and the city briefly exhales. Afternoon is coming, and with it, another side of New York, slower, heavier, and closer to home. By afternoon, the city softens, not quieter, just heavier. You move away from the markets and into residential streets, where the pace slows because it has to. The work of the morning is done. What remains is endurance. The sun presses down between buildings, trapped heat lingering in brick and stone. Here, the street belongs less to wagons and more to people. Children sit on stoops, tracing shapes in dust with broken sticks. An older boy carries water from a public pump, sloshing carefully, knowing every spill means another trip. A woman leans from an upper window, calling a name. Her voice practiced, sharp enough to cut through distance. You walk along the Bowery, where the city shows its seams. This is a place of overlap. Theatres beside boarding houses, taverns beside churches. Immigrants pass native-born tradesmen. Respectability and desperation share the same blocks. Nothing is fully separated yet. That comes later, when speed demands order. Inside the buildings, life compresses. A tenement room holds an entire family. A bed, a table, a stove. Everything smells faintly of yesterday's meal. Windows stay open when they can, but air moves slowly. Privacy exists only in imagination. Voices pass through walls as easily as smoke. A man returns home early, his hands blackened from work he doesn't talk about. He sits, eats bread dipped in broth, listens to the street through the open window. Somewhere below, a cart rattles past. Somewhere farther off, a hammer strikes iron, steady and patient. Religion marks the hours here. You pass old St. Patrick's Cathedral, its stone exterior cool and calm amid the clutter. The doors are open. Inside, it smells of wax and old wood. A few people sit quietly, resting rather than praying, letting the space do its work. Faith is practical in this city. It offers structure, routine, a reason to pause. Outside again, the afternoon stretches. Men gather near taverns, not drinking yet, just talking. Stories circle, jobs promised, wages cut, rumors from the docks. Someone mentions a new invention, something powered by steam, something being tested farther north. It's dismissed with a shrug. Too expensive, too unreliable. Horses have always been enough. The streets remember everything. Ruts worn deep by years of wheels. Doorways smoothed by hands that open and close them every day. A trough set out for animals, water darkened by use. You step around it without thinking. The city teaches you where to place your feet. Laundry flaps overhead, casting brief shadows as clouds drift past. Time moves differently here. No one checks a watch. Meals happen when hunger insists. Rest comes when exhaustion wins. This is the New York most people know best. Not the markets, not the docks, but these streets where names are remembered, routines repeat, and survival is personal. As the sun begins its slow descent, the city prepares again. Lamps will be lit, doors will close, another rhythm will take over. Evening is approaching, and with it, the places where New York unwinds, loudly, imperfectly, and without apology. As the light begins to fade, New York changes its posture. Work loosens its grip, shoulders drop, voices shift. The city doesn't rest, it exhales. You feel it as you walk, the tension of the day easing into something louder, rougher, and more human. Gas lamps flicker to life one by one. They don't banish the dark. They push it back just enough to feel safe. Pools of yellow light gather on street corners, leaving long stretches in shadow. Faces appear, then vanish again. The city becomes a series of moments rather than a continuous whole. You pass taverns filling quickly. Doors stand open despite the noise spilling out. Laughter, arguments, music played slightly off-key. Inside, men crowd rough wooden tables. Ale sloshes. Coins clatter. Stories grow larger with every retelling. This is where the day is processed. Complaints aired. Small victories exaggerated. No one drinks alone unless they mean to. Nearby, A theatre draws a different crowd. Posters promise drama, comedy, spectacle. The Bowery is famous for this. Cheap seats, loud audiences, performers who know how to fight for attention. Inside, the air is thick with heat and anticipation. Applause comes early. Boos come faster. Entertainment here is participatory. The crowd is part of the show. Outside again, you keep walking south. Couples stroll slowly, careful of uneven stones. A man leads his horse toward a stable, whispering to calm it. Somewhere, a violin leaks from an upstairs window, the melody thin but persistent. You reach the edge of the city, near Battery Park, where the land opens toward water once more. Here, the air is cooler. The harbour lies dark and wide, reflecting scattered lights like broken stars. Ships rest quietly now, their work done until morning. The city feels almost gentle from this distance, its noise softened by space. People linger, some talk, some simply stand and watch the water move. It's one of the few places where New York allows stillness. No wagons, fewer shouts, just the sound of waves against stone and the faint creak of anchored hulls. Behind you, the city continues. Taverns swell, lamps hiss, footsteps echo down narrow streets. Somewhere, a watchman begins his rounds, calling the hour, his voice steady and reassuring. Doors close, shutters latch. Families gather around dim light, the day finally done. This is New York without engines, a city that winds down the way it wound up, slowly, unevenly, through habit rather than control. No one rushes home because there is nowhere to rush from. Distance still matters. Darkness still commands respect. Night settles in layers, and as it does, the city prepares for sleep, convinced, as cities always are, that this rhythm will last forever. Night in the city is never silent, only restrained. The gas lamps burn low now, their light trembling in the breeze. Streets that felt crowded hours ago stretch long and uncertain. Shadows gather where the lamps do not reach, filling doorways, alleys, the spaces between buildings where sound disappears. You walk more carefully. Footsteps echo differently at night. Every sound feels closer, sharper. A distant laugh drifts from a tavern window, then fades. Somewhere, a horse shifts in its stall, leather creaking softly as it settles. The smell of hay mixes with smoke and damp stone. Most doors are closed. Behind them, families sit near small pools of light. Candles flicker. Supper plates are cleared. Boots rest by thresholds, ready for morning. The city draws inward, conserving itself. Outside life pauses, but it never fully stops. A watchman passes, lantern swinging slowly. He calls the hour, steady, practiced, reminding everyone that order still exists. His voice carries farther than it should, bouncing off brick and timber, fading only when the street bends away. Night belongs to routine as much as day does. In darker stretches, movement continues quietly. A worker returns late, shoulders hunched. A woman leans from a window to empty a chamber pot into the gutter below. Somewhere, rats move with confidence, knowing the streets as well as any person. This city feeds many kinds of life. Near the water, the air cools. The harbour lies almost black now, ships reduced to silhouettes. Masts sway gently, barely visible against the sky. Tomorrow, the docks will roar again. Tonight, they rest. Even commerce sleeps when muscle demands it. This is New York at its most honest. No spectacle, no ambition. Just people recovering from the effort of existing. No one imagines a future where nights glow bright as day, where streets never empty, where distance collapses into minutes. The city feels complete as it is, scaled to the body, governed by light and dark. Windows go dark one by one. The walk slows, then stops. The city breathes evenly, convinced this rhythm is permanent. It never is. This is the New York that existed before engines rewrote the rules. A city shaped by walking distance, by animal strength, by patience. Streets where sound traveled as fast as a voice could carry it. Where the pace of life was set by daylight, weather, and human limits. We know this world through fragments, maps worn thin at the folds, newspaper ads shouting prices and promises, police logs noting fights and fires, illustrations capturing streets too crowded to frame all at once. Together, they let us reconstruct not just how the city looked, but how it felt. This walk isn't nostalgia, it's perspective. Because once cars arrive, everything changes. Streets widen, neighborhoods break apart, silence disappears. Speed becomes the measure of progress. But for a moment, just a moment, New York existed like this. Loud, imperfect, human-scaled. A city that moved only as fast as its people and animals allowed. If this journey through the past stayed with you, hit the like button, share it with someone who loves history, and don't forget to subscribe, so you never miss the next walk through another lost world. We walk these streets not to escape the present, but to understand how it was built. This is Old World View, where the past is observed slowly, so its echoes are never lost.